Hello coconuts, you're tuning in to Coconut Didi, and this is your own very special Didi, Coco or Addy, whichever is fine. So today we're going to be talking about sports, and I don't mean sports as in, oh, I watch this on TV, or my brother watches this, or my dad's into this, or my mum likes this. No, what we're talking about sports is women in sports and the opportunities that we get to have as women and as women of colour. Let's start off with a story. I'm very unfit right now. I walk up the stairs and I am exhausted. Like, I get to the end of the stairs, which is only like, I want to say 10-11 steps, and I'm like, water, please. So as you can imagine, yeah, I'm not very fit, and for someone in their mid-20s, which is like, youth, I'm not really reflecting that right now, which is it's not great, okay? When I joined dance classes online on Zoom, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, they were all ladies over the age of 40, and then there was me. And after one song, I was literally like on the floor, like, give me 10 minutes just to get my breath back. And all these other ladies who are 40 plus, they were fine. They were looking at me like, what is your issue, child? Like, we don't get it. I also go for daily walks now, and old ladies with walking sticks, yeah, they overtake me. So obviously I'm not doing something right, but I wasn't always this way. When I was younger, I was doing a multitude of sports. I was doing football, gymnastics, netball, basketball, swimming, vault, you name it, I tried it. Golf, I even did golf, okay? So I was an active child. So what happened? Let me tell you, it's barriers. So the older you get as a woman and a woman of colour, barriers come in, and the world has decided, yeah, we're not going to equip you with the stuff you need to get over those barriers to continue being an active person. First, I got pulled out of gymnastics. My teacher was a male, so we're not really comfortable with having a male holding you by your hips, your arms, your legs, whatever. Because, you're a female, you're growing up, yada yada yada, we want to keep you safe. And it's not the fact that they distrusted my instructor, like, they've known him for a good 4 or 5 years. It's not like I just started doing gymnastics. It's the notion of you're becoming a woman and things are going to look different about you, about your body, and we don't know what the reaction is going to be, and we want to keep you safe. We don't want to put you in a position where anything bad's going to happen or someone's looking at you really creepily, which, I understand, but you get taken out of that. Then, there's other things further down the line. For example, for contact sports, you don't particularly want to be pinned down by a male. It's not enjoyable. I did jiu-jitsu for 1 year and 1 year only because everyone else in my class was a male. And for the first year, it was fine because, we were just learning the basics. We were just going, yeah, getting the poses down, maybe punching each other once or twice. But the second year, first move for the second year was a male had to grab me, immobilize me, flip me over and pin me on the ground. And I'm pretty sure all of us right now are thinking, yeah, that's not comfortable. Yeah, it was not comfortable. I felt very, very, very vulnerable. I wanted to cry. And I knew it was, it was because that's what we were learning for the day. It was the sport. However, I was very uncomfortable. And I'm not saying it was wrong for me to feel uncomfortable. Everybody's experience is valid. If I felt uncomfortable, then I felt uncomfortable, and that is fine. But that was enough for me to pull out, because I was like, I can't keep doing this. If every time I try and get any further in this sport, I'm gonna feel hella uncomfortable because there's no other women, then I'm gonna go. And it takes a special sort of person to carry on with that. You have to feel really comfortable and strong. And I'm not saying that I didn't feel like a strong person. I was doing jiu-jitsu, so obviously I'd learned something. But there are certain battles that you have to pick, and for me that wasn't a battle that was worth it. I would rather have let that go than to continue to persevere and continue feeling uncomfortable for something that I deemed wasn't really needed. I wasn't going to be a jiu-jitsu master. I wasn't going to have my job, my fun in jiu-jitsu. It was just there because I wanted to be active, because my mum thought it would be a good idea, go. Everything seems to follow that train of thought when it comes to women, and especially BAME women. It's you start a sport when you're younger, and then as you grow older, things happen. And whether they're big inconveniences or small inconveniences, you just deem it's not worthwhile because you have been brought up to think that you would never do anything with sports anyway because you're a woman. Like, why would you need this? You're a woman. I'm not saying that males are brought up with the perception that, oh, you can do whatever you want with sports, you can have a job in sports. It's not about having a job. It's something that is to be respected. So when you talk to a male, they're like, oh yeah, I play football on the weekends and I do cricket on like a Monday and I do this and I do that. For them, it's fun. It's something they should be doing. It's, yeah, you're being active. You need to be outside. You need to be having that kind of, energy release, whatever you want to say. But when it comes to the women, it's almost like, why are you going outside for? Why do you need to do that? Just do it inside. What do you need exercise for? It's not like you're gonna ever use it. And it's that shift of seeing it as something quintessential for the males and something that really isn't necessary for females, when actually all of us need to be fit and healthy. All of us need to be doing physical education. At the bare minimum, let's try and do 30 minutes a day. You need to be active, and this is not, oh, I run around my kids, or yeah, I walk to Aldi and I walk around the shop. No, this is 30 minutes of dedicated time to something. Be it a walk if you want, but you're not doing anything else. You are just on that walk, and it's not just, yeah, I'm walking down the road. It's literally exactly 30 minutes. You're walking, you're not stopping, you're not like focusing on anything else except for the fact that you are doing this for yourself and to get your health and your stamina up, that kind of thing. Another barrier that I have encountered is, I am religious, I am a Muslim, which comes with its own set of barriers because now I wear a hijab, and let me tell you, there are some women out there who can work out with their hijab on, and I think they're the most amazing people in the world. Like, oh my goodness, hats off to you. But me, I'm a baby hijabi. I've only been doing it for like a year and a bit, so yeah, I'm not good at that right now. Suddenly, when I could work out in the gym, now I can't because I don't want to wear my scarf when I work out. And you know what? That is not me being privileged. That is literally like I should have a safe space where I can work out. It's not a privilege to have a safe space. It's a necessity and it's a must. Just as physical education is a must. Okay? Everybody needs to be fit and healthy, and everybody needs to have a nice, safe space to get fit and healthy. This is not a privilege. This is a necessity, and it needs. This one is a bit of a difficult one because there are all types of women. There are women that cover up, there are women that don't cover up, there are women who wear a headscarf, there are women who don't wear a headscarf, there are women who want to show their body, there's women who don't want to show their body, there's women who want to be on TV, there's women who don't want to be on TV. And how do you balance all that when you try and make sport a professional thing for women? Because men's sports, when we look at them, everything is advertised, everything is on TV, it's televised, everything is, it's in your face. You can search up someone and they come up and they're there. When it comes to women's sports, televised, I think that's a great idea, but if we try to include every woman, what do we regulate, what don't we regulate? For example, I used to do a lot of swimming. I got pulled out of swimming. I used to do competitions when I was younger, but I got pulled out of swimming because I got to an age where I didn't feel comfortable wearing, the normal short swimming costumes. I am a Muslim girl. I do cover my legs. For me, it was, I can continue. My club is happy to let me continue, but I now wear a full swimming costume. And that is going to slow me down. It does slow me down. And why? Because I have more fabric on than everyone else. And it was quite off-putting because I was like, I can put in 110% and I still would not be better because I have this weight holding me down of this extra fabric. So how would we come around that? Like, do we just make it mandatory for everyone to wear the same outfits? And to not exclude anyone, then everybody would have to wear the full swimming costume, and some people will be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So it's not a simple, there's no simple answer. There isn't for this one. But it would be great if we had a starting point where somebody begins to talk about it, someone begins to discuss it, and someone figures it out, to be done. So the gym that I used to go to couldn't go anymore, so that's my money down the drain. Thank you very much. So I went to a new gym. And it has a women's only room, and that's so great. It really is. But you walk through the main gym to get to the women's area. And the main gym is quite big. And the women's area is quite small. Now hear me out. I know what you're going to say. More people use the mixed section than the women's only section, so it only makes sense that the women's section is going to be smaller. Yes, I hear you. I 110% agree. But when the mixed section is huge and the women's section can only fit about 5 girls before it starts to feel very squished up and you're bumping into each other and then there's an issue. Why would you only do it for 5 women? Surely you're gonna think, that there's gonna be more than 5 women when you've got a big ass gym. Let's not be ridiculous. Let's not start, it's obvious that the mixed section's gonna be bigger. We know that, okay? And that is acceptable. What is not acceptable is having an unrealistic floor plan. Just because it's the women's only area. If literally only 5 people can fit in there, only 5 women, then what was the point? There's not going to be just 5 women that are coming that are going to be able to use that room. There might be more. You don't know, because the women's only section is not for just women who don't want to use the mixed section. It's for women of any type of size, shape, religion, ethnicity, whatever, man, okay? They might be 110% comfortable in the mixed section, but the equipment they might want might be used up in the mixed section, so they might go to the women's only section and surprise, that machine or that equipment is free and they're going to use it, and that is 110% okay. But when you do not factor that in, you've already got 5 women in there. You ain't got any more space for anyone else. Whilst we're on that, if we bring it back a couple of steps, if there is only enough room for 5 women, how are you gonna put in the machines and the equipment? And which ones are you gonna prioritize? And this priority, every time I see it, every single time I see this priority, I want to cry. When you go into the women's only section, okay? The women's only room. You look around and there's treadmills. There's the rowing machine. There's the cycles. There's the steps, or whatever the hell it's called, you know, when you step on it and then you have to keep going up the stairs kind of thing. And there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 weights, and the seats where you can adjust so you can do weights lying down or sitting up. Then there's yoga mats. There is a yoga ball. It's like a step, and you can step on it and step off, but it's not the step machine. As you can see, most of it is for building your stamina. Okay, building your stamina, and then you've got your arms as well, because you have a couple of weights to choose from, which is nice. But the whole point of going to the gym should be to get fit, to get stronger. And whilst it's nice that you're going to help me increase my stamina because you've got treadmills there, and I can do my arms because you have a couple of weights there, what about my legs? Like, you know, where's the leg machine? Where are the other types of machines that make it easier to include a variety of ways of exercising your arm muscles, your back muscles, your chest muscles, whatever muscles, okay? Where are those? Why don't I get them? Just because I'm not comfortable doing it in a mixed crowd, or because I don't want to wear my scarf in a mixed crowd, you're gonna limit me because you decided that a women's only area was only worth building stamina. Whilst the women's only area, it has a lock on it, and your passcode will let you in. So when you sign up to the gym, they ask you if you're male or female, which is fine. You know, I'm not saying, oh, they should double check. Like, I don't care about that. If they say they're female, they come in, it's fine, whatever. But the workers at the gym, they just come in. They don't knock. They know the passcode. They get in, they look around, they come out. Bitch, I don't have my scarf on, okay? I'm wearing workout gear, which I'm allowed to wear because I'm allowed to wear whatever the hell I want, okay? It's a women's only area. If I want to wear just my sports bra and some cropped leggings, then, you know, that's what I'm wearing. What I do not like, do not anticipate, and should not happen is for then a man who works at the gym to come into the women's only section after putting the pin code in, looking around, and then coming back out. If you're looking for someone, then just knock on, and then, you know, knock on so people at least know that you're gonna come in. You know, I always have my hoodie with me. I can put my hoodie on. My hoodie surprisingly has a hood, and guess what I can do with that hood? I can put it over my head, and what does that do? It covers my hair. Wow, shock, horror, such an invention. Yes, innovation at its finest. So if you knock on and say, I am a man, I am going to come in, then guess what? I got no problem with that. You can come in. You've given me those like 4 seconds to hurriedly put my hoodie on. What's not okay is you just open the door, you look around, and then you go out. If you do not have any female staff, that's the first problem. Get some female staff. Where's the representation? Okay. Second of all, if you're looking for someone, if it's a client or whatever, text them, message them, ring them. And if none of that works, then you can knock on the door. Give people a warning that you're a male and you're about to come in. And then go in, then check, then come out. How easy is that? It's not even like one extra step. You should be knocking on doors before you enter anyway. It's common courtesy. It's common courtesy. So when I was in high school, I had 2 options. I went to a sports college, so I had to do sports of some kind when it came to my GCSE years. Now, my options were B.Tech sport or B.Tech dance. B.Tech sport or B.Tech dance. So, where do you think most of the girls went? Most of the girls went to B.Tech dance. Now, most of the girls includes the bitchy, annoying plastics of the school, which I don't want to be with. So my only other option was B.Tech Sports. Also, I don't dance. I mean, I do now, but I didn't back then, okay? I just didn't want to. I mean, I don't have to explain, but I'm just telling you, I just didn't want to, and that's fine. So I went to B.Tech Sport, which was all boys except for me and two other girls, and they were white girls, and I was just me, little brown girl. Okay, can you imagine how that went? Do you think I actually did any physical education? I'ma answer that for you. No. My teacher was a male, so me and those two other girls, we kind of cracked the system. If we went into the women's changing room and didn't come out, he couldn't come in to get us. He could stay at the door and be like, alright girls, this is not funny anymore. You need to come out. The lesson's about to start. It's been 15 minutes, girls. You need to come out. It's been half an hour, girls. Come on, we need to start the lesson. He was not getting us out of there. He just had to give up on us. So we didn't do sports. We used to just sit there. There you go, sorted. Why didn't we want to do it? Because there was no active participation for us. First and foremost, it was a classroom full of boys. So even if there was a sport that one of us girls wanted to do, like volleyball or netball or whatever typical, quote-unquote, typical girly sports that there are, the boys would just, there's more of them, so their votes would count. So we would do tag rugby, or we would do dodgeball, or things that, typical high school boys would want to do. When we would do those sports, there was no participation from us. I remember in dodgeball, as soon as we would start the game, one of the nicer boys would motion for me to come over towards the line. I'd come over and he's just like, listen, just do us a favor. I'm gonna pass this ball to you. You just let me tap your shoulder with it and you just go sit down, and I'd be like, alright, see you, bye bye, thank you. Because they weren't about to throw a ball in my face at like, I don't know, high school boy speed. I don't know what speed that is, but they weren't about to do that. I had never done anything to them. They didn't hate me, but it was just the logistics of, obviously these girls don't want to do this sport. They don't want to have a rough and tumble with us guys. They probably don't feel comfortable with it. So, at the first opportunity we can, we're gonna get the girls off the court, have them not participate, and then we can do what we want. We can have fun. And good on them, because I didn't want to be around flying dodgeballs in the first place. But this is what I mean by there was no active participation for us. We were just sat there watching. The same happened when we would do tag rugby. I can tell you, I have never been tag rugbyed. Because the boys again would just be like, listen, just sit out, like we're not even gonna go anywhere near you. So even if I wasn't allowed to sit out, thank you, PE teacher who wouldn't let me sit out, on those occasions he got tired of us always sitting out. They just wouldn't come anywhere near us, so we were just stood there, or we were just sat there. So there was no active participation. And when there's no active participation, you don't get involved, you don't understand why people like sports, because to you, you're doing a sport and it wasn't fun because you had nothing to do. So you get turned off sports, you don't do it, you get turned off any type of physical activity, then you become a hermit, you don't get fit, you have stamina issues, you have troubles waking up in the morning, you just don't feel energized. So, now that we've established all that, now that I've had my complaining, what can we do about this? People, the issues that we have here is that there is rarely ever a safe space for women to get fit. Women do not get fit and then they feel weak, they feel lethargic, they feel tired. I actually have talked to a number of people and they've always said to me, when girls that I know, when they start going to the gym and they bulk up a little bit, their health issues they kind of sort themselves out. They're not as bad, they're more tolerable, etc. And this is a mixture of the fact that when you exercise, you got good hormones coming out. And the other mixture of the fact that you are building up a stamina, you have energy, yada yada yada. You're not stuck in bed all day feeling sorry for yourself. You've got some fresh air, you're in a new environment, you feel like you've accomplished something. There is just so much that going out of your house and exercising for yourself, there's just so much that gives you. There is a big section of women, especially B.A.M.E women, that are missing out on this because they just do not deem it necessary to have facilities for them to feel comfortable in. And as we've said before, it's not a privilege to have a place to feel comfortable in. It is a necessity. So here's what we can do to fix this. Every gym, if it prides itself on being there for men and women equally, for being there for the B.A.M.E community, for being there for ethnic minorities, for being there for people no matter their race, sex, religion, whatever. You have a mixed section and you have a women's only section. And honestly, if men want a men only section, then you can do that too. I do not see a problem with that. If you've got space, go for it, okay? But what we need first and foremost, and for me, because I am a woman and I am a B.A.M.E woman, I want that women only area and I want it to have enough space. Okay, I don't want to go in and feel like, oh, you made it just because you thought it would be good publicity. I want you to have made it because you're like, listen, women need a safe space. Women need to be physically fit as well. You know, we need the energy. We are people who have very active lifestyles in the way that, you know, we're always running from here to here, trying to do this, trying to get this errand done, this chore, whatever. And if you have kids, then oh my god, you need all the more stamina, you need all the more muscle, because let me tell you, carrying children sometimes it's just hard to hold a child for long periods of time, because guess what, children weight, they're not weightless. You hold a child and they have a weight to them, and you need muscle and energy to hold that child. And I can guarantee you, 11 times out of 10, the children are mostly with the women, with the mothers. So if we're not making women strong, then do you get what I mean? Like, make it make sense. But we need to have it made in the same way that the mixed gym is. Yes, I understand there's going to be less machines, okay, I got it. But let's not have all the focus on, oh, the treadmills, because that's all women do. They just go on the treadmill and then they come out, or they go on the cycle because they want to have more stamina. They want to get thinner, and that means just doing cardio and then they leave. No. We're not going to perpetuate those stereotypes anymore. Whilst we wrap this up, here are the things that we need. A gym that has a women's only section or a women's only gym, and these need to be more frequent throughout the country. There needs to be equal focus on cardio and muscle building, muscle training. I'm not saying you have to get the biggest muscles in the world. I'm just saying you need to make sure you're keeping your strength up, and to do that you need to do muscle training, muscle strengthening, and some cardio, okay? Mix it up a bit. Don't just do one or the other. You need to kind of do them all. When it says women's only, please, it is women's only. Let's not have men staff coming in without knocking, thinking, you know, that they own the world. You don't, okay? There are very many reasons why women will go to use the women's only area. They might be shy, they might feel uncomfortable next to men, and that could be just because they feel uncomfortable, or it could be due to something traumatic. You don't need to know what it is. They could just not like men, and that is fine. They might feel intimidated being near men and want to be in a women's only area. They might be hijabis like me who don't wear their hijabs when they work out. There might be people who have body image issues and would rather be around other women. There are people who want to wear things that show their body, but they want it to be for themselves. They don't want to be sexualized, and so they go into the women's only section, and that is fine. When it says women's only, we need to keep it as women's only. It is the women's only section. The women's only section, there should be only women. I don't know why I need to say this because it's in the name, but if it's women's only, then only women's should be in there. Only. Okay, great. The third thing we need to do is we need to encourage sports. We need to encourage it as a way to keep fit, to keep healthy. It doesn't always have to be something competitive. You don't need to be in a competitive sport, but we just need to be able to get it out there. And when we get options to do sports or physical education in high school, in primary school, whatever you want to, whichever age you want, make the choices varied. So there's just a plethora of issues that occur, and this all starts when you're young, be it because you're being pulled out of sports or physical education because there are no things in place to make you feel comfortable enough to do them, or to make your guardians feel comfortable enough to allow you to do it, or even when you can participate due to the lack of representation of women or the lack of options that women have, and they're just shoveled into one group or another. There is no active participation. You're just there to create numbers, or you're just there because you have to be, which is very upsetting because there are a lot of girls out there who could have been fantastic at any sport they ever wished if they had continued and carried on, but there just was not things in place to allow them to carry on. And finally, the third thing is we need active encouragement to allow women to make careers out of sport, and England doesn't deem it necessary to help eradicate the barriers that women have towards sports. Sports is not encouraged for women. Physical health is not encouraged for women, and it's not seen as the norm. And fourth of all, there is a frequent how do I phrase this? There is a frequent breach by the male community into women-only areas, so women feel fearful of going to women-only sections because they're like, what if a man comes in? There is no trust there, and I can see why there's no trust there. As I said, in my own personal experience, they would just come in whenever without giving any warning. So what are we going to eat today? How about having some vegetable lasagna? Now hear me out. I love a good meat lasagna, but there's just something special about veg lasagna. In a veg lasagna, you get that nice creaminess of all the veg mixed together. What have we learned today? One interesting fact I learnt today is that apparently it takes 10 to 20 minutes for a person to fall asleep. I'm gonna call bullshit on that one. Because listen, I used to always fall asleep 10 on the dot, okay? And even then it would still take me an hour to go to sleep. I have never met anyone who can fall asleep 10 to 20 minutes. Well, I say that. There is someone I know who as soon as they get into a car, they just like doze off. But that's different. To go into a nice deep sleep, I don't think anyone has ever been like, yeah, it's just going to take me 10 to 20 minutes. I think in this day and age, everybody takes a long ass time to go to sleep. Thank you for tuning in, Coconuts. This has been Coconut Dee Dee, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time.